I am Steve Lentini, and I'm the host, your host, for the podcast Different Thinking for Different Times. We are an award-winning podcast, one of the top critical thinking podcasts, and I'm grateful for million podcasts reaching out to me and notifying me about the award, and you'll see that moniker on the graphics. So today, Different Thinking for Different Times. It's based on what I learned in my near-death experience when I left this bio machine that we temporarily inhabit. And everyone knows that, but most wonder if there's anything after this. The good news is, at least for me, there was. And I hope the same for you. And not before this podcast is over. I wish we would all experience it if you get to come back like I did. But I can tell you, what I learned is that we're one with everything and nothing. We're one with the energy of the universe, whatever you want to call it. And yes, faith is fine, religion's fine. I'm not going to make any of that wrong. I experienced it as immense grace and love and compassion, and I call it God. It makes it simpler. And it was way beyond our human understanding, or at least my own. Way beyond anything we can comprehend. That's where I came up with different thinking for different times, and that my work is to overcome small-minded thinking and to reprogram my mind and to help people do that. And why? Why is it important? Well, we're run by the egoic subconscious mind. We're run by that because we've programmed it. And we program it because we believe what we see, and then we judge it, and we're angry, and we make it wrong. We make others wrong. We don't understand the purpose for all of that. And the purpose of it is the brain is urging us to rewire it. And neuro researchers, thankfully, are backing all that up these days. That until the age of 35, if we never question our mind, if we never work to reprogram our mind or run the mind, like Rainer Maria Rilke said, he called that little voice, or his little voice, the little hooligan. And he would ask people, are you going to let the little hooligan run you, or will you run it? Up until the age of 35, if we never work to run that voice, neuro researchers tell us they can predict what the next 35 years will be like. It'll be a repeat. Because the subconscious takes in the programming, much like anything new you've learned. I like to use driving, but you can use skiing or skateboarding, or the first time you water skied or drove a big truck compared to your car. Your brain is nervous. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't like it. And then all of a sudden, after you practice and use whatever you're learning over and over again, the brain takes over. I ask people, after they learn to drive, have you ever been on the highway and thought, wait, who just drove the last few miles? We don't have to worry about it. What most people don't realize is emotionally, the brain does the same thing. It remembers everything for the first 35 years. Now, I'm starting to coach some people that are a lot younger than 35. It's amazing. They're learning it now. I wish I had learned this. And I'm embarrassed to say it wasn't until my mid-40s that I began to question my mind. And then on my 50th birthday, a month later, I flatlined. And if you've listened to the podcast or read any of my books, you know the story. But I can tell you that little voice didn't go with me. It didn't go with me. Pure peace and grace and love. And that's where, when I came back in my body, that voice came right back, and I knew I don't have to listen to that voice all the time. And thankfully, the gift that life gave me was that's become my work, is helping people to become the witness or the observer to their thinking. I call it developing a level of thinking. Developing a level of thinking above your thinking, just noticing what you're reacting to, what activates you, what triggers you. Some people use that word and don't like it. Okay, so use activated or react. What causes you to react? And when I write, I hyphenate reacting and put it in quotes because it's something previously learned. It's part of your past programming. So this week's podcast, I'm going to talk about the difference between high frequency energy and low frequency energy. And that humans feel it. We know the difference. Here's what I want to propose. We all have a limited amount of energy, whether we live 100 years, 110 years, 50 years, 80 years. We don't know when it'll be, thankfully. We have a limited amount of energy. Maybe you can agree with that. Why would you spend any amount of energy in lower frequency? Why? Investing your time in lower frequency energy is going to give you lower frequency results. That's how your life will feel. It'll feel like a struggle. So here's something to do. Spend some time noting the next few weeks, how much time, and maybe you make a journal note or put it on your phone, how much time every day you spend in high frequency energy versus low frequency energy. Now I'll help you determine between the two. How do you feel when you're around certain people? Do they enliven you? Do they energize you? Are they easy to be with? They can have a conversation. You could even challenge them a little bit and they have fun with it. Or how do you feel with lower frequency people? And how much time do you want to spend around those people? And we all experience different kinds of people. And I'm not suggesting you run away from all the situations that are lower frequency energy or all the people. I mean, the average person would probably have 300 up to 1,000 marriages if we ran away every time we had a challenge in a relationship. And you can learn to talk about it. Hey, that didn't feel so good. Can we talk about that? Keep the you out of it. Keep the you out of it. Can we talk about that conversation yesterday? The remark that, and whatever it is, didn't feel good for me. When you experience higher frequency energy, you're enlivened. So whether it's something that you have to do, a group of, say, a foursome of golf, and you don't feel the best around two of the people, why? Why spend more time with them? Let's suppose it's work and you have a task that you could delegate, but you just do it because the boss said, hey, get this done. And you took it that you had to do it. Why do it? Why not do the things you're good at and delegate the rest? Now, if you couldn't delegate that task, then bring higher frequency energy to it. Now, how do you do that? Let's say you're more enlivened in the morning. Do those tasks in the morning and get them out of the way. And you'll notice you feel better when they're accomplished. You'll have that feeling of accomplishment. But for now, just start to recognize how much time you spend in either low frequency energy or high frequency energy. Now, a lot of it people do to themselves. They get upset over politics or religion or things they can't control. Why spend any time in it? Why scroll the news feed if you're always upset by it? Notice how much time you spend in lower frequency energy versus higher frequency energy. This is different thinking for different times. My dog Albie agrees if you heard him bark. He likes higher frequency energy, gets excited. When somebody knocks on the door, a delivery man comes, or another dog walks by because he loves looking out the front window. He gets excited. He spends a lot of time in higher frequency energy. We know what that looks like. You know what I'm talking about. And then when you're with someone, or let's say someone at work upsets you, why get enrolled in that? Notice it and say, hey, can we talk about this a little later? You could be honest and say, authentic would be, I notice it upsets me a little bit when we talk about this. Don't say you, right? When we make it about the subject, about the work, about the project. Why react? You're the one choosing to react. Breathe. Put a pause in. I call it the POWER acronym. In my book, Your Brain is Brilliant, but it's not always a friend. It's on Amazon if you'd like it. Or you can email me and I'll send you a copy at the author's price. I'll save you about $8. You email me, Steve at stevelentini.com. I'll show you how to spell it with one of my books shortly. I'll use the book cover. Here's one. Here. I'll do it now. Steve at stevelentini.com. This is something I just wrote recently, Breaking the Cycle of Upset, how to break the annual family holiday upset cycle. And you can use some of the same information, high frequency energy versus low frequency energy, and maybe start helping the people around you become more accepting. It's fascinating how many people wanted to move out of the country after the election. And I presume in the last election, there were people that didn't want to stay, right? Everybody felt like everybody loved the last president. Who knows? There were people probably that wanted to leave. I don't care who's president. I cast my vote and then I can't do anything about it for 4 years unless I want to go join a protest, which for the most part is a waste of time. I mean, when you think of 2016, how many years were spent in a hoax by the media? Multiple hoaxes. It just, why get involved? I didn't care. I wasn't going to convince anybody of anything. I just said to myself, I don't know and I don't care. Whoever's been elected, we've been fine, by the way. And people always are going to disagree because, unfortunately, we have a two-party system, and I believe it's failing us. I can't start a third party. I'd like to, but I can't right now. I've got too much work to do changing people's minds about their thinking, for people to recognize their power and not pay attention to this brain that often we believe it's right when it says, give that person a piece of your mind. Hey, why don't you gripe about being in this long line and let everybody hear you? It's wasted energy. It's lower frequency energy. You only have so much time in this earth and you only have so much energy. Why not spend it in things and around people that you love? Higher frequency energy. And for the energy you control, don't get enrolled in lower frequency energy. Model higher frequency energy. Start to talk to people about it. You could buy a book by R.J. Spina, Change Your Mind. It's a great book where he lays out a lot of different exercises to help you notice the difference between high frequency energy and low frequency energy. I help people with it. My GPT, the acornbraincoach.com. If you go there, you can enroll and get 7 days of free coaching. And it's modeled on all of my work. ChatGPT is amazing in that regard, as it scrubbed all of my content, all my YouTubes, and I go in and update it as I learn new things, typically 3 or 4 times a month, sometimes more often. And it gives people 7 days of free coaching, and then for $29 a month, you can coach yourself. The GPT will give you advice that I would give you. Now, there's other levels of it, and you'll be invited to some free events that are going to be Zoom events as an additional benefit. And if you want some of the other levels, that includes free one-on-one coaching with me, extra levels of it. I could tell you that it's work for you to manage your own mind and let other people's lives, let it go. Your job isn't to manage other people unless you're a manager at work. And then there's a way to do that differently that models higher frequency energy. Now, I've been doing this for over 25 years and helping people with it. And they've changed their lives because they were committed to themselves. That's the first thing I say is, tell me you're going to commit to yourself to do this, because you're not committing to me. Then I say, now that you committed to yourself, will you commit to me that you'll do the work that I'm going to recommend? But first they have to commit to themselves that they're going to start noticing things, where they're reacting, where they're activated, where they're triggered, where they're angry, frustrated, anxious, sad, depressed, because all of it is the egoic patterned subconscious mind that you programmed. Don't blame anyone else. Who's running this bio machine that we've been granted temporarily? In the universe has been around 13.8 billion years. Think about it. Why waste your time in any of the lower frequency energy? Now, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. I still do. I'm working on it every day. I tell my clients, if I tell you I found the way, run away. And check in with me in a few weeks. I can tell you that we live in something limitless that even physicists don't know very much about. They think they do, but there are things yet to be discovered that will challenge our belief systems. BS, by the way. Belief systems that are no different than the times when people thought the Earth was the center of the universe. Now, it goes back a few thousand years. But early astronomers thought that we were the center of the universe. That's egoic, right? Well, we're the center of the universe. And then they thought that the sun rotated around the Earth, that we were not rotating around the sun. And of course, the last one, not just the last belief system that we've discovered that we were really small-minded, was that the Earth was flat. I'd like you to consider this. Somewhere in your belief systems, BS that you're telling yourself, you still see the horizon is flat. Think about that. Wherever you're scared to go, wherever you're afraid to challenge yourself, wherever you're reacting, that's a BS story. It's a belief system that you need to challenge. Will you commit to yourself to do that? Start working on your mind. Start exploring new horizons in your life with other people. Start expanding who you surround yourself with. By the way, to get an idea of high frequency or low frequency, do an inventory of the 5 or 10 people you hang around with. How would you describe them? If they're all negative nabobs, negative Nellies, complaining, grumbling, blah, 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 small-minded. You know what small-minded sounds like. That's a reflection of you. Michael Dell used to say, if you're the smartest person in the room, go find a new room. It's the egoic patterned subconscious mind that you programmed that has you believing you're right. We forget when we're right, we're making other people wrong. What if you were just 10% right? What if others are at least 10% right, but you're railing against them, not giving them any credit, not willing to have a dialogue? A dialogue and compromise, or just consider, not even make your point. Hey, I hear what you're saying. How'd you come up with that? And forget your point. It's a lot to cover. But I wanted you all to consider this. You programmed your mind up until now. And if you're not exactly happy, by the way, that's your little acorn brain. Here, I'll show you the acorn trademark. That's your brain giving you expectations that haven't been met yet. And you're upset. Lower your expectations. William Stafford wrote a poem a day for 40 years. And people asked him, hey, when you get stuck, what happened? When you got stuck, what did you do? What if you had no ideas to write a poem that day? He said, I lowered my expectations. He was mastering his little acorn brain that was telling him, you got nothing to write about today. Oh boy, nothing's coming up. He lowered his expectations. A poem a day. 40,000 poems. 6,000 got published. Amazing. I just want you to lower your expectations a little bit. Like Buddha said, desire is the root of all suffering. And when your brain is trying to make you wrong about outer circumstances, remind yourself what Christ said, that everything worked together for good for those who believe it in the Father. Muhammad said, what reaches you was never meant to miss you. And what misses you was never meant to reach you. There's a lot of advice over the ages, right? I wrote the book Sage Advice, Wisdom for Living from Throughout the Ages. Here, I'll show you what the cover looks like. It's on Amazon. Sage Advice, Wisdom for Living from Throughout the Ages. Quotes from all kinds of people, some living, mostly dead. Amazing advice that we don't pay attention to it because we like to learn the hard way. Be careful being right. Notice your egoic, patterned, subconscious mind where it's running you instead of you running it. Start to notice. Just notice for a while. Maybe you notice, hey, I spent 20% of my time being a little sad or anxious or frustrated. Or I spend 20% of my time being mad when I wake up in the morning. For what? You just woke up. You could say, this is a fantastic day. I'm going to just be in awe. I wonder what's going to show up today. And be with it. Relax. Work on your mind. Start to notice your mind. Don't let it run you. I have a nickname for it. I call it the little fucker. I think you should name your voice. Dr. Daniel Amen. He recommends naming it. He calls his voice Little Hermie. He named it after a rambunctious, troublemaking pet raccoon he had as a teenager. Look up his work, Dr. Daniel Amen. Don't take my word for anything. There's plenty of research out there. I'm helping people individually overcome that little fucker, that acorn brain, right? That's the more polite one, but I can use the little fucker on a podcast. That's what I call my voice. And it gets loud some days. And I follow a procedure that I'm recommending to my clients about quieting it. First, I notice, I catch it, and then I talk to the voice using the third part. I say, you, Steve, that's not true. That's a lie. If it's fear, fear is a lie. Fear is a liar. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. Joseph Campbell said that. E.E. Cummings said, relax your grip and dive into the space, right? Most of us have a white knuckle grip on the steering wheel of life. I can tell you I did, going back to before I was 50. It didn't help me. I couldn't control anything. A lot showed up that I couldn't control. And if you've read about my near-death experience, you know, 1 second I was fine, the next second I needed an ambulance. But the fascinating thing is I was grateful, even waiting for the ambulance. I had surrendered to what was showing up. Surrender is a very good way to reprogram your mind. You let it go and go with it. I wonder where this is going to go. Okay. Doesn't feel good. It's a little difficult. It's a little challenging. Where is this going to go? I'm going to be with it. Surrendering to the moment. Because there's only the now, by the way. At least when I passed from my body, my physical body, to what's next, I call it what's next. I don't call it death. There was only the now. I call it the now on steroids. And immediately, I was in immense light. I knew I was one with everything and nothing. One with everything and nothing, which is how the universe is made. Fascinating, right? There's energy, and then there's positive energy, there's black holes, negative energy, sucking everything in around it, like certain people, or it may be even us some days. Our brain is enrolling us in negative energy, like a black hole. But there's mostly nothing in the universe, by the way. We think this looks so real, right? We think that this is how it looks throughout the universe. There's millions and billions of miles between some of the galaxies and the planets. Everything and nothing. Surrender to the now and start to notice what your brain suggests when you feel anxious, angry, triggered, and upset, wanting to defend. Feel the energy. Is it higher frequency or lower frequency? And start to track how much time you spend in either. Now, if you want to reach out to me, I'll show you my name here, Steve at stevelentini.com. I'll do it again, Steve at stevelentini.com. You could be a guest. I have a guest coming up Monday, in fact. You could be a guest. You can come on and challenge me. It's okay. I like people that think differently. It's how I learn. Remember, I might just ask you, does that sound like small-minded thinking? Start to work on it. Ponder it. You got to prove it to yourself. Don't take my word for it. Thank you.